Hello, I'm going for the thorough approach to a tutorial on how to set up and host a private server for your friends from scratch and set it all up, all of the mods and everything so that you can play Decked Out 2 together. But first, 3 quick disclaimers. Number 1, this is for Windows and for Minecraft Java Edition. There will be a lot of overlap for Mac, maybe Linux, but I don't have time to expand that much today, I'm really sorry. Number 2, I'm not an expert in any of this. I work in IT, so I know enough, but if there's something I've missed or you feel I've gotten wrong, please do say so. Number 3, you'll need a relatively good computer for this. I'm not going to try and tell you what the minimum requirements are, but just to warn you that if you're on a laptop that kind of struggles to play Minecraft, you may not want to be the host of the server as well, and I'd recommend sending this to somebody else who can host it a little bit better perhaps. With that said, let's move on. First, check out this video by Void and just give him some support because he has done a ton to get this up and running. Now, you want to go to the hermitcraft.com website, click on Maps, then go down to Vanilla S9 and click on Java. This will begin the world download up in the corner, and as you'll see, it'll take a little bit of time. It is about 2 gigabytes in size. Once that's downloaded, you're going to have a zip folder in your downloads. Obviously, you can't use this, so the first thing to do is right-click, then click Extract All. It will take a minute, but once it's extracted, you'll have everything you need to run the world of Hermitcraft 9 itself. You'll also find a little bit of information in the decked out text and the info text. The info text just lets us know that the world is best experienced in 1.20.1, which is what I will be showing you how to set up. And the decked out text gives us these 3 very helpful links that you'll need to go to. So let's do this in order. First, we go to this link. The first link for audio player takes us here. Click download. The second link we're actually going to skip because as you can see this is only for version 1.20, not 1.20.1, so I'll get to that in a second. But the third link brings us to the simple voice mod. Download that. Now for the second link you can just Google Fabric 1.20.1 and it will bring you to this site. I will include a link to this anyway, but if you don't want to click on my link you can see here's the version that you want to go for. Download that. For now, we're done with Decked Out, so we can minimize that. 2 more things to download. First off, I really recommend downloading Carpet by Nembon, an incredible mod that works with Fabric, and it will allow you to set up a user to stand and load the map for you during gameplay, so that one of your friends doesn't have to stand there taking turns to load the map while other people run. Again, I'll include the link, but make sure you're getting the version for 120 and 120.1. That really matters. There's another version that looks like it's for this, but it's not this one. Download this. Finally, you want to go to the fabricmc.net site and click the download button, which will bring you to this page. You don't want to download for Windows. You need to download Universal Jar. With all of that done, this is how your downloads folder should look. You should have the Hermitcraft zipped and unzipped. You should have the audio player, the voice chat, the different Fabric API 1.20.1 version that isn't included with the Hermitcraft stuff, the Fabric Carpet mod, and the Fabric installer from the website. It's at this point I'll mention you need to have Java up to date. I'm afraid I can't remember what version you absolutely have to have, and it might vary depending on what computer you're on, but just check you've got Java up to date, because otherwise these icons will not show correctly, and they need to look like this. If they don't look like this, and you're sure your Java is up to date, all you're going to do is right click and then click Open With, and then it will ask you to open with Java, TM, Platform, SE Binary. This might be the stage that some of you have problems with, and I'd recommend spending some time on Google to figure out your specific setup and your specific Java edition. Now, if that's not a problem for you, you're going to double click on the Fabric installer. That will bring up a little box like this. You are first going to set up your client version. So the Minecraft version, you want to make sure that's set to 1.20.1. The loader version leave as is, and the install location will default to the default Minecraft location. If you've moved it, you need to change this to the default Minecraft location. If you haven't, it will look like this. So leave it there, make sure Create Profile is ticked, and click Install. Once it's done, it will bring up this little pop-up box, which lets you know it's been installed correctly, and they also require you to put the Fabric API into the mods folder. It's okay, we've already got the Fabric API, so we don't need to do that step now. Click OK. And now we move on to your server. Just like before, you're going to change the version to 120.1, you're going to keep the loader version as is, and now you're going to change the install location to where you want to go in order to run your server. In this case, as you'll see, I've created a folder called Server Folder, and I've chosen that as my select install location. When you click Install, It's going to go through some bits, and it's then going to pop up this window. It's going to tell you that it's not got the server jar found. Now, this is the server to actually run the Minecraft server itself. You're going to click download server jar, and what it will do is it will find the version from the internet and put it into that folder for you. It will save you having to do it manually by going to minecraft.net and so on. Now it's done, it's downloaded, it's ready to go. This command is important to copy. Just click on it, press Ctrl A to select all, then Ctrl C to copy. This is how you're going to run the Fabric server. Click done, and there we go, we're done. It's installed, it's ready to go. If we click in the server folder, you can see this here. In this folder, we're now going to do something a little bit technical, but bear with me. You're going to right click on here, you're going to click new, and then you're going to click text document. Doesn't matter what we call this, open it up. And in that text document, you're going to paste the code you've just copied. Now, this will be absolutely correct. Just to let you know, what this does is it tells it to run in Java. It tells it the maximum amount of memory to use. So what your RAM is dependent on this. This is telling my computer to use 2 gigabytes of RAM at most in order to run this. I'm going to tell you something about this in a second. Then it tells you what to load, and it's telling you the jar of the Fabric server launch. That's what it's asking you to load. Then no GUI just tells you not to bring up a graphic user interface. I'm going to delete that. I don't like it when it doesn't show me the command prompt, and if there are any problems, like it crashes because I've got 2 of the wrong versions of different mods sort of clashing against each other, I won't be able to see it if I keep no GUI there. So I'd recommend deleting that just for debug purposes. You can always come back and add it again later in exactly the same way. Now, I said I'd tell you something slightly different about this. In all of my personal servers, I tend to change this to these 2 commands instead. So what this is, XMX means sort of maximum, MX, max, and I've written it with an M, which means megabytes, so I've written about 3 gigabytes. I could just write that, I'm just old-fashioned. And then you've got the XMS, which is smallest, minimum, MS in that sort of sense. And again, I set it to minimum, so I make it so that my computer has to have 3 gigabytes of RAM allocated to the Minecraft server at all times. If you've got 16 gigabytes of RAM, you might want to choose to update that to a 4 or to an 8 or something so that the server has more RAM allocated. But actually, it tends to be quite lightweight. It might only need about 3 gigabytes, I think, is like where I've seen it peak out on my computer. So that's my information on that for you. If you want to just leave it as this, you absolutely can. No big deal at all. Once you've made your decisions about this little line of code, you're going to click File and click Save As. In your server folder, you're then going to save it as runserver.bat. Now, it doesn't need to be run server, just something to let you know that this is how you start it. And you're going to change the save file type to all files. You're now saving what's called a batch file. Now, quick security announcement. If somebody sends you a BAT or a batch file, do not open it. They can do a lot to damage your computer, but you've just written this batch command yourself. Welcome to coding if you don't do it already. Now, me from the future here, because I forgot to tell you something kind of important, you need to click on View, Show, and make sure you've got file name extensions showing. Otherwise, when you try to change the file extension from text to BAT, that just won't work. I'm sorry I forgot to include that a second ago, but if you couldn't get it to read .bat or say Windows batch file, that's likely why. And the view is a little bit different in older versions of Windows, so I'd recommend just Googling how do you show file name extensions in whatever version of Windows you're on. The important thing is this needs to be a Windows batch file, not runserver.bat.txt, because that doesn't work. Now we have our runserver.bat file ready to go. We can close this. We can delete this little text file. It doesn't mean anything. We now have a batch file that will run the Fabric server launch. The reason you have to do this, by the way, is so that you can set how much RAM your computer uses to launch the server. Otherwise, it launches with the minimum amount, and sometimes that can lead to a laggy experience. This is fully intentional, as you saw, because we copied the code from the Fabric installer in the first place. Now we get to the fun part. You're going to double click on Run Server, and it's going to bring up this GUI. And if you remember, if we said no GUI, it wouldn't have loaded this, or it might have flashed it up, then put it away once it was done. The first thing it's going to do is fail, because the Minecraft server that it runs subsequently asks you to sign a license agreement. So you're going to open up the EULA, and just here where it says false, you're just going to type in true in lowercase. Click Ctrl S to save, or just go to save the old-fashioned way. Close it. Now, this should be ready to run again. But I'm going to talk about server properties quickly. Server properties is a little bit daunting, but I really strongly recommend that you go through and you look at these and you read each line and try to get an understanding of what it does, because some of these are going to be really important. One that I really want you to find is scroll down and go to whitelist and set that to true immediately. I'm not going to go into detail as to how, but people just do IP sweeps and find random IPs to try and connect to. Because Minecraft always uses the same port in order to connect through, if you don't have whitelist enabled, you could have somebody random join your server and use that as a gateway to hack or break your computer. I have literally had this happen to me once where I forgot to enable the whitelist with a friend. Luckily, I was online when the bot started joining my computer, so I was able to disconnect the server and go from there. It's not something to be afraid of, but this is why I'm really pushing you to enable the whitelist. One more thing to consider, when we open up the decked out text, it tells us you need a minimum simulation distance of 10 and render distance of 16. So in this long list of stuff, you need to find simulation distance and make sure that that's set to 10, and render distance, also known as view distance, and make sure that that's set to 16. Now, don't close server properties just yet. You need to go back to your downloads folder and move the Hermitcraft 9 folder that we exported from the zip into the server folder, because that is now our world. So you're going to go back to your server properties, and where it says level name, you're going to get rid of the word world and set up Hermitcraft 9. That will tell the server to look in that folder for all of the stuff. You can also change the message of the day if you like. Like that. God, I love B-dubs. Right, save your server properties with Control S or click Save, but again, don't close it just yet, we're not quite done. For ease, we're now going to look at the mods. You see, when it set up this server, it set up a folder called mods. This is where we're going to put our mods. Who would have thought? So, go back to your downloads, you've got the audio player, you need the Fabric API, you need the Fabric carpet, and you need the voice chat. Now I've just held Control to click on all of those, and when I press Control and X, I'm going to cut them, go into server, go into mods, and paste them here. But we're not quite done yet. You're going to select all of these and press Ctrl C to copy them. We're now going to go and put them in your actual Minecraft folder. Now, if you've moved your Minecraft folder, I'm not going to tell you where to find it, you need to know. But if you haven't touched it, then by default, where you need to go is as follows. The first thing is to make sure that you go to View, Show, and show hidden items again. Now, you'll remember earlier on I mentioned file name extensions. Hidden items also needs to be on, because your app data folder is hidden by default. So make sure that's unticked. Again, on earlier versions of Windows, go to Google and figure out how to show hidden items. What you're going to do is open this PC, go to Windows C, go to Users. Then you're going to find your profile. Whatever one you are logged in as, go there. I'm going to click on this one, which I've hidden the name for security purposes. In this list, you are going to find the app data folder. Again, if you can't see that, that's because you've got hidden items turned off. Make sure it's turned on. Double click app data, you're going to go to roaming. At the top, you're going to have a .minecraft folder. And here we are in your Minecraft folder. All you need to do is open up the mods folder and paste them in here, which as you can see I've already done because I've already installed this once myself. But what's important is that you've got the same mods client side, which is your Minecraft folder, as you have server side. All of your friends who want to play on the server will have to install Fabric themselves, set up a Minecraft profile with Fabric, and then do these steps to put these 4 mods files in their Minecraft file. Otherwise, when they try to connect to the server, they're either going to crash, they're going to crash the server, or they will just find that the disks and things like that in Desktop don't work. I'm sorry we've gone so far into the video before I mentioned that, but please just send this link to your friend and tell them to follow those steps up until now. Now, there's one last thing to do before we even open Hermitcraft, and that's make it so that you can actually see the cards and items decked out in the first place. For that, we need the resource pack. We're going to go back to our downloads folder, we're going to open up the server folder, open up Hermitcraft 9, the world, and you'll notice they very kindly included the resources.zip file for us to use. Now, the absolute easiest way to do this is to go back to your Minecraft folder, open up resource packs, and just put this pack in there, and then when you open up the server, manually choose it. But if you're like me and your friends actually aren't that into technology and would find this step confusing, there's an easier way as the server host to force them to do it right. And that's what I'm going to show you. you're going to go to mc-packs.net. Now, this is another example of the community being absolutely amazing. Somebody has set up a space to download resource packs from them for free. I have checked, it is safe and it is easy, so if you get a chance, please do consider donating. It's so kind of them to host this for free because server space does cost money. So, what you're going to do is click Choose File, go back to your Hermitcraft 9 world folder, and then double click on resources.zip. Click Upload, and then you get this. Now what we're going to do is go back to our server properties, and we're going to do three things. The first is find resource-pack-sha1. That's down here. We're just going to go ahead and delete that. Next, we're going to copy this code and find where it says resource pack. And we're just going to paste it in there as is. Now what you see is it's taken the link there and it's then recreated our resource pack SHA1 line. So don't worry about that going missing, it's just been moved higher up. Finally, you need to look for resource pack prompt and you need to set that to true. Now what this means is whoever connects to your server will be prompted like this and asked to download the resource pack. If they click disconnect, obviously they disconnect. If they click proceed, it automatically downloads the server file you uploaded to MC Packs down to this world. So their game will quickly restart. They'll be asked to reconnect to the server again, which once they've got set up won't take any time at all. Then they won't see the screen again, and they'll be in Hermitcraft with all of the resource pack enabled. And that means they'll be able to hear the custom discs, the custom horns, see the cards, and everything else with no issues. As long as you remember to save your server properties, we're now good to close it. We're now also good to close all of the tabs we had open. One thing I forgot to mention is because I'm really aware of MC Pack's resources and the amount of space on the server that will be taken up if 1,000 of us suddenly put the same resource pack up there, I'm just going to copy and paste this into my description of this video. This is exactly the same pack you just watched me upload, so if you want to just take this, please do. But also, from a security perspective, I know it's not a good idea to just tell you to download things from someone you don't know and don't trust. So if you do want to put the file up there yourself, I'm not going to stop you. One more time, if you can, I just recommend donating because this is such a kind thing to do. Anyway, just a quick recap. We have set up the server, we have installed the mods, we have just sorted out the resource pack, and the one other thing you might have questions about is if you go into Hermitcraft 9 and click on data packs, all of the data packs are there. Nobody has to do anything with those, they just work. And that means, good news, we are now ready to open Minecraft for the first time in this tutorial. So, open your launcher, select Minecraft Java Edition, and click on the drop down to make sure you select Fabric Loader 1.20.1. Now, I've already edited mine so that it says Herm Season 9 so I didn't get confused, but you want to make sure that this is selected here when you click play. As you see, it has a little bit of preparation to do. Once we're in, you should see it says Fabric Modded down in the left hand corner, and that's how you know you've done it right. When we click Multiplayer, now this is you running on your own machine, so all you need to do is click Add Server, give it whatever name you want, and then write Local Host in all lowercase down here. Server Resource Packs, Enabled, make sure that's set to Enabled, and click Done. There we go, we've now got my server. We can't connect to it because we've not run the server yet, so you're going to click on your runserver.bat file. When you do, you'll have a couple of pop-ups that look like this. Now, nothing to be concerned about, this is it just generating the world, and as you can see it loads the advancements and everything. Because Hermitcraft 9 has already been spawned, there's nothing really for it to do other than load the spawn area, so that shouldn't take too long. Just for reference, if you had typed no GUI into your bat file that we talked about earlier, it would just get rid of this command prompt there, it would just hide it. If something had gone wrong, this would have been what loaded and the server wouldn't have, so you'd have seen a flash of stuff and then it all disappeared and there was nothing you could do about it. Now, first thing you're going to do is go to this little blank text box here, and if you listened to me about the whitelist, which I really hope you did, you're going to write whitelist, add, and then the name of your character. Unbelievably, Mumbo Jumbo is not my character, but for the sake of demonstration, it's there. The next thing you're going to write is op, and then the name of your character. What this does is it makes you a server operator, as you can tell. It allows you in-game to change your game mode to spectator or to enable carpet commands and things like that. So You're going to need that, your friends may not, but they will need whitelisted, so make sure you add all of your friends to the whitelist. It appears as a JSON file down here, but it's much easier just to add it into the server this way. Now, I just moved my server to the other screen for a moment, but when I go back to Minecraft and I click refresh, now the server's running, you can see I've added and it's got my little message of the day there. If I click into join server, so as you can see, it's logging me in, and here I am. Now, obviously, I'm already at Decked Out because I've done some setups so that me and my friends can play together. You would start off at World Spawn, and this is where the Decked Out text file becomes helpful yet again, because it does tell you the coordinates to put the person with the map, which lets you know that if you teleport there or fly to these coordinates, you'll be able to figure out where Decked Out is from there. Now let's talk about letting your friends see the server in the first place, because they can't write localhost, they aren't the local host. So what your friend is going to do is they're going to click multiplayer, they're going to click add server, they're going to give it an appropriate name, then they're going to put in your IP address followed by the port number, which say it looks like this: 1.234.567.89 colon, not semicolon, colon, 25565. Now, if you remember, in the server, that's the number that came up. That's always the port by default. I'm not going to get you to change that, but I am going to make a very, very strict security rule here. Do not publicize your IP address. Only give it to people you trust and you know well. Your friends can't pass it on to anyone either. This is a huge security risk. So to find your own IP address, you can search what'smyipaddress.com, just Google that and it will come up with a website that shows you your IP address. That's the easiest way. But that website also has the functionality to search for IP addresses. If you publicize your IP address, somebody else can put that address online and find out roughly where you live. That is a huge, huge problem, especially because they then also know what ports your computer has open. So I'm telling you this is only safe as a private server for you and your friends. Do not make this public, do not post your IP address anywhere, right? But you can search for your IP address, tell them what it is, and then put this through here. When they click done, they should be able to see, now I won't because I'm a local host, but they should be able to see the server as long as it's running. And that's also important. Don't leave your server running unless you are there to attend and check on it. Best practice is to always supervise your server. Whenever you're ready to close your server down, go back to that command prompt bit and write the word stop. And I literally just mean stop. Like that. Press enter. It will shut down your server in the safe way. So yeah, once again, this is designed for you and your friends to have a private game together, assuming all of you are online at the same time. If you need to go and have lunch or something, I'm sure it'll be fine as long as you trust your friends. But please do take your security really seriously here. Whitelist is your best friend in this situation. Now, one issue you may face is that your friends can't connect to your server. They might be able to find it, or maybe they can't find it at all even though your server's running. That is likely to be your firewall blocking access to the port. So you need to do what's called port forwarding of port 25565. Unfortunately, I can't show you that bit because, first of all, you would find out all about my antivirus setup and everything like that. Second of all, you likely have a different antivirus setup to me. So the best thing to do is go to Google, go to YouTube, and search how to set up port forwarding on, and then the name of your antivirus. If you don't have an antivirus, it might be Windows Defender that's causing the problem, in which case you Google how to do it in Windows Defender. But I'm really sorry if that's a problem you end up facing. The final important thing to do is talk about how we get the map to run, how we get the map to stay loaded, because it doesn't just need a player there, it needs a player there holding a map. Now, I went to Reddit to find out the answer to this, and a huge shout out to This Is Not The End, because they helped. Their post here explained everything you need to do for the commands when you use carpet mod by Nembon in order to spawn a Steve and give them a map and put them in the right spot. But they have linked yesterday, and I didn't even see this until this video came up, to this one by Barnaby Walters, who explains that you can just use TangoCam, and what it does is it loads a fake version of TangoCam to spawn. TangoCam will already be holding a map, so by just using this command with carpet mod in your Minecraft world, it will spawn in a fake version of TangoCam with their player data at that position ready to go. So let's do that. I go back in game. Bear in mind, I have to be modded in order to do this. I paste the command, press enter, and it will tell me that Tango Cam has joined the game. Now, you may have noticed there was one other command there below hand, which was to look south. I don't think that's very important, but it does matter because on the decked out map, as you can see, currently he's facing a really awkward direction and it doesn't look so good with the O. And I care about aesthetics, dang it. So we're going to put in look south, and now there we go, the decked out map just as we had it. When we go in and run, the map will look normal for us and we can go and do whatever we want to do in the game. But with that said, we're done. We have covered everything from scratch. I really hope this has worked for you. If you post a comment asking for help, I'll do my best to reply, but I can't promise I'll have time, and I'm really sorry about that. But it means if you know what you're doing, please go and help others in the comments if you see they had a problem that you've already resolved. Also, don't worry about subscribing. I'm not planning on making more bits. I just really wanted to help an awesome community, and I know how much videos like this helped me when I was first learning to make servers. So I wish you the best of luck, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if you're watching it around the time of this release, and I hope you have loads of really fun times with your friends playing Decked Out. Take care.